There's history being made with Daniel Tekla-Hamanots, the first Eritrean to roll down the ramp. And in fact, he's not on his own. There's 3 Eritreans in this year's race.
كنيكم زي خبركم تعزبت في تعميتات سبورت نايز حلفة سومن حيزنا لكم قريبنا لنا مكتتالكم بخبرنا عدم
History being made with Daniel Tekla-Hamanots, the first Eritrean to roll down the ramp. And in fact, he's not on his own. There's 3 Eritreans in this year's race.
ኤርትራው ጠቅላላ ማይዳንኤል ተክለሃይማኖት ትማል ሶኒ ኣብ ዝተኻየደ መበል 16 መድረኽ ቱር ደ ፍራንስ 7 ተርታ ብምሓዝ ታሪኽ ሰሪሖም
This is the front group, and you can see the one rider in this group from the Astana team, number 4, that is Andrei Grivko. And yet, despite him having him in the break, Astana are doing the chasing. So Vincenzo Nibali clearly likes his chances on today's stage. Defending champion of the race, he's looking to try and salvage something. He currently sits in 8th position overall, and the descent today favours his abilities. The chase from the main peloton starting to have an impact. The advantage now being reduced to 5 minutes and 41 seconds. 1 kilometre to go to the intermediate sprint for Peter Sagan. And he has been so consistent this year. He finished 4th on the stage yesterday, Peter Sagan. There he is in the green jersey. We've completed 15 stages so far. And Peter Sagan has finished in the Tulsen from Cofidis, a Belgian rider, as the most combative on the stage. The spine of Peter Sagan is slightly twisted as he then also turns the head to see if anybody is going to dare to challenge him from behind. But he wants to collect these 20 points without spend. The main Colombian that the Colombians themselves will be paying attention to today is Nairo Quintana. And the main peloton, they're 3 kilometres behind on the road, that is more famous than the actual climb itself. There was a horrible crash here in 2003. That was with Joseba Bolocchi, the Spanish climber, who had formerly finished on the podium at the Tour de France. There was also a Quintana, and accused him of taking advantage of Alberto's misfortune, when it really wasn't Alberto Contador's misfortune. It was a mistake on his behalf. He tried to attack on the way down. This, by contrast, is misfortune. There's a rear-wheel puncher for Richie Porte. And a little bit of yellow. He remonstrated with him on the road, and it was caught on camera.
These are the leaders here, and the British flag flying right at the right moment as Team Sky bring the peloton safely down the mountain. I don't know what they do with Peter Sagan, because this guy seems to have endless energy.
Well, the funny thing is, Phil, even though we're talking about other riders trying to split up the group, it's in fact Peter Sagan who looks to be the most energetic rider in this breakaway, and he was the one that actually tried to spur them forward. The French have an expression called pédaler dans le beurre, which means you're pedaling in butter, and it looks very much as if that bloke was there, because that looks quite easy, his pedaling style, and he's not going anywhere.
Well, he should be, but he needs to pedal a bit quicker. 13 minutes 10, we're still going up here. Well, when we get to the next climb of...
ኣብቲ ናይ መዛዘም ተሪር ዓቐበት ኤምቲኤን ንክልተ ተቐዳድምታ ማለት ኖርዌጃዊ ቦሰን ሃገንን ቤልጅማዊ ሰርጆ ፓውሊስን ክትከስርን ከላ ዳንኤል ግን ኣብ ገሊኡ ምስ ቀዳሞት 5 ብምዃን ውድድር ካብ ምቕላስ ኣይበኸረን ፍላይ ዓቐበት እናተረረ ኣብ ዝኸደሉ ኣብ ድሕሪቲ ዓወት ልዕሊ ማንም ተቐዳዳማይ ዘገድሶ ዝነበረ ፒተር ሳጋን ክጸንሕ ምውሳኑ ነዚ ናይ ትማሊ ዝሓዞ ደረጃ እምነ መሰረት ዝኾነ ይክባሃል ይከኣል ዳንኤል ብዙሓት ተቐዳድምቲ ኣብቲ ናይ 9 ኪሎ ሜትር ዓቐበት ዘልሓት ሓጥርናበሉ ንብሉጽነቱ ብግብሪ ኣመስኪሮም بدحر زياب مزازمي اب صعبه ናይ 12 كيلومتر ቁልቁለት ተቀዳድምቲ ፋሕፋሕም ኢሎም ብቕዓት ዘይኮነ ድማ ቴክኒካዊ ክእለትን ድፍረትን ዝያዳ ዘገድሰሉ እዋን ነበረ ኣብ ቁልቁለት ምውራድ ኣዝዩ ሓያል ብደረጃ ዓለም ተጠማቱ ምዃኑ ዝግለጽ ፒተር ሳጋን ነቲ ቁልቁለት ከማይ ብምስታይ ኣቀዲሙ ሃዲሙ ዝነበረ ተቀዳዳማይ ላምፕረ መሪዳ ፕላዛ ሩበን ኣብ ምህዳን ተጸምደም
Well, we'll see on the descent now, because 55 seconds is a big gap on that descent, and there seems to be nobody wanting to work with Peter Sagan.
Well, Phil, it's so complicated a stage like this, because these guys are further back down the road. They're not thinking about a stage victory this afternoon, but they're thinking about time. Tony Galopin, who's the Frenchman who was in 9th place overall, he's been left behind by this group, and it's all because of the power coming from Roman Kreuziger. Alberto Contador knows this climb, but more importantly, maybe, Phil, he knows the descent.
Race Radio is saying that Peter Sagan... Oh, no, look at that. That was a lock-up of the wheels by the leader, Platzer. That was a flashback. He settled back in as he continues. I'll tell you, this is a tricky way down.
It's a very tricky technical descent, and you have got to be very careful going around these corners. As we mentioned, Phil, you've got that big problem with the tar starting to melt, which makes it much more precarious. You can lose adhesion in the corners very easily if you come into them at the wrong speed and at the wrong angle.
calmer but even harder moments on the way up for the peloton as they continue. They're closing in on the leaders. That's to be expected. Froome pedals here on his back wheel of his faithful teammate Geraint Thomas, while you've got Valverde sitting on the wheel of Froome. Look at this, look at this. Jams on now. If he overshoots, what does that say for the rest? Because he's the best bike rider.
Well, I was getting reports that Peter Sagan had attacked her. You know, this guy is probably the best bike handler in the business, and he will take every possible risk going down this descent. He knows, Phil, it's a huge deficit to try and bridge on a gap. We're inside of the last 10 kilometres, the last 6 miles of racing, and going downhill like this, that's not much more than 10 minutes of racing into an aerodynamic position. He sees the next corner coming up. He starts to line himself up, goes back over the back wheel a little bit just to put the weight over the back wheel so he can get adherence around that corner. The rider going with him, it looks to me like it's the IAM cycling rider, and he is a Colombian on that squad. Yeah. That is Pantano. Now, what a day it would be if he could get the victory on Colombian Independence Day.
Yes, well, he's riding a brilliant race, Pantano, as well. As this is Plata back in control, and the gap still 48 seconds. This is Reblon being chased by the Colombian.
So the way it looks to me today, the choice is it's all or nothing. It's hospital or podium place. This is a crazy fast descent, and this rider is taking it to the maximum. You can see Peter Sagan dropping all his opinions from that breakaway just by showing his superior bike skills and punching out of these corners with, you know, a lot of horsepower. He wants that win, but Ruben Plaza still ahead. This is coming down to the very last meters of today's stage, and I don't even dare to say who's going to win, because each corner is a different game for itself.
You're absolutely right, Lens. They may have given him a bit too much, but he's got to get down safely. If you see the way that Peter Sagan shifts his body weight on that bicycle, I'd be convinced he was riding a Moto Grand Prix.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil, it's almost like a 2-for-1 here. We've got 2 races going on for the price of 1 this afternoon. We've got a race for the glory of winning a stage into Gap, and that's why these guys we're looking at here are taking all kinds of risks to try and get down to the bottom of this climb first and win the stage. But in this group, a little bit further down the road, 18 minutes behind, they are thinking about the positions in the overall standings to win the Tour de France after 3 weeks, and that's why Chris Froome can expect to see challenges coming.
But
once
look at the
this
group.
descent
The group
starts.
is only containing the favourites now. They've blown everybody else away here in the main field. You've got TJ Van Garderen, all the men that matter. The chase goes under 5 kilometres to go. We're finding a new star in the Tour de France here, because Jolinson Pantano is the rider in our camera, riding his first Tour de France. He's a Colombian.
دانيال ون ولا أقوى كم ناي ساقانا يكون نتقول قلت ببقعات وريدو شاب عي ترتا بمحاز تاريخ سريحو نهاجرو إيرتراون أب زرزر تاريخ سرعة هاجرات كم تسرع جيروام.
That peloton has shrunk to nothing. Ruben Plaza is trying to push on now for what would be the biggest victory of his life, and his career started 16 years ago.
Well, just looking down at this, I'm not sure if you're still online with us there, Jensi, but do you think that Peter Sagan, he's a special guy, but has he got enough time left to catch the lone leader? It's looking like he's running out to me.
No, there's not enough kilometers left and way too much time out there. Not even Peter Sagan.
Now's the time, ready to put his hands up as he zips up. This has been a huge moment for him, and a long, long, long breakaway, 3 kilometres out on the second longest stage of the race of 201. He's first home, and in the distance, it's another second place for Peter Sagan. But also, Paul, more points in green jersey. I think today he probably took enough points to have won that green jersey in Paris.
But Phil, I don't think he was thinking about that competition this afternoon. This is a man who's been itching to get a stage victory. Coming alongside him, up behind him there is Pantano, the Colombian rider, and for Peter Sagan now, you know, he tried.
Never mind, he tried, but what about the man taking third? Celebrates Colombia's Independence Day. First-time Tour rider, third on this stage, Jolinson Pantano. Then comes Simon Geschke, Bob Jungels, Christophe Reblon. Thomas de Ghent here.
Yeah, Thomas de Ghent. Daniel Tekla-Hyman. It's been a big day, Phil, for FTA Quebec, because they're going to leap up the team classification at the end of today, and what a lot of work was done by Thomas de Ghent.
Right, well, that's the first segment of the Tour de France over, but remember there is now a race for the men who are challenging to win this race in Paris, and they are all locked together at around about 18 minutes further back.
Yes, there's a double header here this afternoon. It's almost as if you're going to the cinema and have two movies in the same afternoon. Thomas Vogler crosses the line there and puts his head down a fraction. He was in the right move at the right time. But there we go. This is where we'll see the next phase of the race take place.
أبزار مدرخ زي مع دانيال أب قدامي تكوجل استقالت وتقالدم TMTN سورجو باوليس مبلع 10 سلسته بوسن هاجن دبا مبلع 10 تشعة درجة حزام أبز نايت مال ورد على خالوت قامتات عبا عود زمزقبت MTN يام كساب نايت مال ورد عبشان نايت ترتاز نبرت MTN دحرز نايت مال وتصير درجة أنا بكال أيك ديب كيلوم MTN بموفي ستار بعسرة دقيقة 5 خليت انت بليتها نكم سكاي بي ام سنتين كوفن كالوت قامتات بليتها أبكال أي درجة خد كلمة بمخالة على مزاريبام أبزوت سيتزي دانيال ابن مسرت من باردما اتزعبي عوت مخانو يا تراترن بزنايت مالوتي تحجزو دانيال لاب زرزرنا يجزي تقلدمتي كما بسب عن شعتنا 54 كبر كيلو مرهاو قدوس نزنايت مالو الدر مبل 210 درجه بمحزازي مولم تور دو فرانس لومي اعرفي وعلو صباح دما تقلدمتي ابترير عقبتات كفتاتون يوم دانيال تقل هايمانوتن مرهاو قدسن عبد تور دو فرانس زنصبارقو زلو بقعتن درجومن معالتاوي اب زينا تكتاتلو سلازلخم بزا አጋጣሚን ኣብ ካልእ ኩርና ቅድም ብሽክለታ ሃገርና ክንጥርነት ከምቲ ብተረጋጋሚ ዝግለጽ ቅድም ብሽክለታ ኤርትራ ናይ ልዕሊ 80 ዓመታት ታሪኽ ዘለዎ እዩ ነዚ ታሪኽ ዝተሓንገጡ ዳንኤል ተክለ ሃይማኖትን መርሃው ቅዱስን ቀዳሞት ኤርትራውያን ተቀዳደምቲ ኣብ ትውልድ ክሳተፉ ዝኻሉ ተባሂሎም ኣብ ዝጽውዕሉ ዘለው እዋን ድማ ነዞም ክልተ ተቀዳደምቲ ዘፍሬ ቅድም ብሽክለታ ኤርትራኸ ኣብ ከመይ ኩነታት ኣሎ ከመውካስ ኣገዳሲ እዩ ቅድም ብሽክለታ ኤርትራ ዓብይ ዓለማዊ ጠመተ ክረክብ ዝኻለ ኤርትራውያን ተቀዳደምቲ ኣብ ዝተፈላለዩ ኣህጉራዊ ውድድራት ክሳተፉን ስልጠና ክወስዱን ድሕሪ ምጅማሮም እዩ بفلايتي اب ماكل تمرتن سلطنا عالماوي محبر قدم بشكلتا مالت UCI اب سويزرلاند زوهاب سلطنا اب عبيتهم تقلادمتي مسرتاوي امن خورنا منبارو اتوم سبورتاوين كيترفو بقصال استاوسويم ابز ماكل زي كلنتناو سلطنا كابز وسلو سلسته تقلادمتي كلهم ابز على درجه بصحهم هلاهم دما ابركتو نايت ماكل اب ملكت حتو زعتو خمزه يكون هي مسكريم ابز وانزي ايرتراوያን تقلادمتي مز ماكل زلهم زمدنا دارغا تبتيخ يخبالي قال از ماكل زين اب قدم بشكلتا هاغرنا زلعل تراس تصاوتا اكل كابونم هاغراو فدريشن كون كوميشن سبورتن ባህልን ኤርትራ ዝነበረ ዝምድና ናብ ንቡር ንምምላስ ቁልጡፍ ተበግሶ ክወስዱ ዘለዎም ይመስል ኤርትራውያን ተቀዳደምትን አፍሪካ አብጠመተ ማዕከል ትምህርት ስልጠናን UCI ዶ አፍሪካውን ገለገለ ስልጠናታት ወሲዶም እዮም እዚ ማዕከል እዚ ገለገለ ጥቅምታት ክርከቦ ዝኽእል እኳ እንተኾነ መዋቅሩ ዘየጽፈፈ ናይ ስልጠናን ልምምድን ጉዳይ ነቶም ተቀዳደምቲ ዝገደፈ ዘይውጽኢታዊ አካል ይኾይኑ ዘሎም ابز حلف عمد دقانسيو تقدمتن ابت ماكل ابتسدالو اغاطامي بقعتنن قمنن ناطفين ناب شامبيون افريكا كمزاتو ازغبره زي وصيتاوي ماكل سلازخونه ابزو خورنا حغراوي فدريشن عميق منزنعتي ككايد كمزغبو غزي يسطلبو حقيوم ኤርትራ ነቅድም ብሽክለታ ሃገርያ ዝብል አባህላን ዓናን ኤርትራውያን ተራ ዘረባክ መስለና ይኽእል ኸውን እንተኾነ ተሐቂ ኣብ ዝእዋን ዚ ኣብ ፈረንሳ በቶም ክልተ ተቀዳደምትን ንዓኦም ሞራል ዝህቡ ዘለው ኤርትራውያንን ይምስከራሎም ህዝቢ ኣብ ቅድም ብሽክለታ ዘለው ፍቅሪ ኣዝዩ ዓቢ ምዃኑ ዝሓለፈ ወርሒ ዝተኻየደ ሻምፒዮን ኤርትራ ህያው ምስክር እዮም እንተኾነ እቲ ብዙሕ ናይ ተዓዘብቲ ሰሙናዊ ኣብ ጎደናታት ዝረአ ይኮነን እዚ ድማ ፌደሬሽን ቅድም ብሽክለታ ዞባታት ተወሳኺ ክሰርሓ ከም ዘለወን ዝእምም እዮም ኣብ ምፍራይ ሃገር ዝኾኑ ተቀዳደምቲ ብቀዳምነት ዝጥቀስ ፌደሬሽን ቅድም ብሽክለታ ዞባ ማእከል እዚ ፌደሬሽን እዚ ምስ ብዙሓት ፀገማት ውድድራት እናሰርዐ ነቲ ዓይነት ስፖርት የካይዶ እኳ እንተሎ ተወሳኺ ሓገዛት ዘየድልዮ ኣይኮነን ብኣንጻር እዚ ግን ዞባታት ደቡብ ዓንሰባ ጋሽባርካ ሰሜናውን ደቡባውን ቀይሕ ባሕሪ ኣይግድን እየን ዘለዋ እዘን ዞባታት ቅድም ብሽክለታ ምክያድ ካብ ዝጅምራ ሓፂር ግዜ እኳ እንተዘይገበራ ብሉፃት ተቀዳደምቲ ኣብ ምፍራይ ግን ኣይሰርሓን ኣብ ቅድም ብሽክለታ ዳሓን ዝኾነ ስም ዝነበራ ዞባ ደቡብ ኣብዚ እዋን እዚ ንብዙሓት ካብ ተቀዳደምታ ከሲራቶም ትርከብ ኣላ እቲ ኣብ ዞባ ማእከልና መፀት ተመዝግቦ ዝነበረት ውፅኢት ታሪክ ምዃኑ ድማ ወፍራህ የንቆልቁል ከም ዘሎ ዝምስክርዮም ናይ ዝእዋን ዝተቀዳደምቲ ብውልቆ ሞራድር ብሽክለታ ብምዕዳግ ስፖርታዊ ተሃኖም ከውፁ ዝከኣል ኣይመስልን ነዚ ሃጓፍ እዚኣ ምሽፋን ዝለዓለ ተራት ፀወታ ዘለዋ ድማ ክለባት እየን ካብ ኣስቤኮ ኤሪተልን ሰንበልን ጀጋንትን ዝኣመሰለ ዝመሰላ ጋንታት ሓላፍነት ህዝብን ሃገርን ተሰኪመን ዝገብርኦ ዘለዋ አበርክቶ ታሪኻዊ ሞሳህ ክረኽባሉ ዝግብአን እዩ ናይ ዝእዋን ዝተቀዳድምቲ ዘይከምቶም ናይ ቅድም እንትዳ ጽዕሮምን ተጸሚሞምን መጻኢኦም ብሩህ ምዃኑ ኣየጠራጥረን ኣብ መወዳእታ ናይ ሎሚ ሱታፍ ኤርትራውያን ተቀዳድምቲ ኣብ ቱር ደ ፍራንስ ከፋት በርንበር ናይ መወዳእታ ሸቶ ዘይምዃኑ ምፍላጥ ኣገዳሲ እዩ ሎሚ ኤርትራ ኣብ ዝውድድር እዚ ብኽልተ ተቀዳድምቲ ጥራይ ተወኪላ ክትህሉ ትኽእል እያ እዚ ብዝሕ እዚ ብቁጥርን ዓይነትን ክልወጥን ከዓብን እንተዳ ኮይኑ ግን ንኹልና ኣባላት ስድራቤት ስፖርት ሓያል ስራሕ ይጽበየና ከም ዘሎ ምፍላጥ ኣገዳሲ እዩ ከምቲ ኩሉ ግዜ ዝበሃል ድማ ምጅማር እቲ ዝቀለለ ክኸውን እንከሎ ብቕጻል እቲ ዝኸበደ ምዃኑ ክፍለጥ ይግባእ